Hello, everyone, and
Hello.
welcome to Star Wars Culture. I am back, and my name is Jordan.
Hello, and my name is Hannah. And today, yes, Jordan, it is so good to have you back. How are you feeling? You were off last week for some illnesses. Are you feeling
Yes,
good this week?
I had the Blue Shadow virus, and
Oh,
it,
iconic.
it was
Yeah.
as bad as the characters felt in that arc. Let me tell you. But I
Oh,
am
no.
feeling fantastic this week.
Excellent,
Aside,
because we've got a big show this week. We've
yes,
got lots to talk about, lots to get into. We're going to be talking about the Kenobi cast. I want to know your take on the Bad Batch, what you think. We're going to be doing a great chat and discussion about that. And
yeah,
we'll also be going into a real deep discussion about the formerly Darth, now just known as Maul. We'll be talking about his character, what we love about him, how he was presented in the shows and movies that we saw him in, and everything in between.
yes. And joining us for those chats and more is a good friend of mine, a good mutual of mine, as the kids will call it today.
The kids.
We are also going to hear from him what he thinks about everything. He's gained a following of, when I wrote this, he only had 77,000 followers. But because he's so amazing, he went up to like 82,000 within the few days that I wrote it. On TikTok, I didn't even say what app it was, I just started rambling. And his bio describes him as the CEO of Screaming Kenobi. I'm not going to scream it because lost my voice last week, not really trying to do that
We'll
again.
leave that for the CEO. We'll leave it for the
Yes.
CEO.
Yes, his name is Zach Bravo, and he will be joining us here very shortly. But before we do all of that, behind the scenes, we have our producer, Nick. How are you feeling today, friend?
Hey, Nick.
I am doing good. How is everyone today? I hope you're
I'm
I'm
ready.
just so
fine.
excited. I'm
Super
so excited
excited.
to talk about Maul. It's going to be a
Yes,
good time.
Yes,
Oh,
Maul, Maul,
so
Maul.
good.
Let's get it rolling.
yes.
Awesome. And thank you so much for checking us out today. And if you're tuning in and you want to get to know more of us here at Star Wars Culture, you can follow my Instagram at Han the Rayside. You can follow Nick at TK7272.
Yes, so you can find me on Instagram at tblueposter66. And to follow for more great pop culture news and content on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter on the and Instagram at Culture Slate. And if you're loving the show, be sure to support us on Patreon too. We post all sorts of behind the scenes and exclusive content that you can't get anywhere else. Also, when you sign up, you will receive exclusive merch directly from us. Link is in the description below.
So good. Now, let's jump into it, Jordan. Let's get Zach in here.
Yes, let's do it.
Zach, are you there? Special
Hello.
guest Zach.
Hello.
Can you
Hello there.
hear me?
Hello there.
Yes, we can hear you.
Amazing.
Hello
There
there.
he is. Hello. There we
I'm
go.
sorry, I had to do a quick costume change. I totally forgot I had this shirt on
Oh
me,
wow.
especially
Oh
if we
my
were
god,
talking about
amazing.
my boy Maul.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, you have to rep it. That's
I
amazing. So
got to. I got to.
now, how you doing today, Zach? How you
I'm
feeling? How's
I'm
life?
doing fantastic. I'm
Yeah.
pretty great. It was a beautiful day out today. Had a nice walkout. I'm feeling really great. I've never felt so optimistic
Yeah. Oh,
lately. So
so good.
it's good. It's good. Life is pretty good.
That's so good. Well, we're going to be diving into like one of the most pessimistic characters in
I
like
know.
franchise history. So,
My boy, my boy.
yeah, we got to balance it out. We got to balance it.
Of course.
So good. Now, this is going to be like a discussion for both of you because Zach, of course, you're a big Maul fan. You're famous and well known for all your Maul content you have on TikTok, which is brilliant,
Thank
hilarious,
you.
amazing, so good. Now, we had a bunch of fantastic Star Wars news released and dropped on us last week. We had the Kenobi cast reveal.
Yeah.
We got like amazing lineup of actors there ready for the show. And we also had the incredible Bad Batch trailer drop as well. So two giant things in one week, which is fantastic. So for both of you, because Jordan, again, you weren't here last week, and I was waiting for all your hot goss about what you think about the Bad Batch. So we'll
Yes.
jump into that today. So, Zach, let's go with you first. Let's talk about the Kenobi cast. When
Sure.
So it was dropped on us. We've got, of course, our Ewan McGregor and our Hayden Christensen and a lineup of fantastic other actors joining them. What was your first initial impressions? Who did you first go, oh, who's that? Like, what
Yeah.
are they gonna do? That kind of thing.
Well, I'm not gonna lie. Because the way that I found out was I just like saw the post on my phone. I wake up and I saw my phone. I was like, oh, the Kenobi cast. Where's Ray Park? And I was like, I don't want it. No.
So good.
I was like, where's Ray Park? But no. The cast looks like absolutely beautiful. It's a very small type cast. So it's gonna be very, especially since it's just a mini series. It's about 6 episodes, right? But they're pretty long. They're about an hour each. But I'm extremely excited because we don't know really what happens like with Kenobi. Like we very much the same with Maul. We don't know like those in between stories as to what happened to them in between, like from Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope, as far as like following Kenobi's story. So I'm extremely excited. The cast looks wonderful, incredibly diverse, which is like fantastic. And I'm excited. I really love that they haven't really said anything as to what the premise is. Only that Hayden Christensen is back as Darth Vader, and that just makes me think like, oh my gosh, like have they had multiple interactions before that?
He could be meeting.
I wasn't expecting it. I think I was at work or something and I saw it pop up and I was like, I'll be right back. I went to go read it because I'm not gonna wait all day to read Star Wars news. That's against the law. And I was really, I guess, impressed by the diversity of the cast, like we've talked about before. Especially with Moses Ingham, I think is her last name, and O'Shea Jackson Jr., who is Ice Cube's son. And so I'm just like, I love Ice Cube and I love his son. Who are you? What are you doing in this show? What are you doing? Tell me right now.
I didn't know he was Ice Cube's son. Oh my goodness, it's a fantastic fact. Oh my goodness. Oh yeah. So good.
So I just have high hopes for his character. I have some friends that would like, hopefully they don't throw him away like they did Finn. And I was like, let's not do that just yet. Let's wait for the show to come out before we start doing all that,
Exactly, yeah. And just on Moses Ingham too, we had a little idea last week's show that she could potentially be a Inquisitor. She could potentially be our first live action Inquisitor that we see. What do you guys think of that idea? Are we going to see Inquisitors at all on the show?
I think it has to. I mean, if we look at the timeline, between from Revenge of the Sith and to A New Hope again, and in between with Star Wars Rebels, they were around, they existed. So it's very possible that we'll see like, if not like an entire episode, like the way that the Mando pulled with like an entire episode for Ahsoka Tano, whereas like we thought it was just going to be like very minuscule. Right. Again, it could go either way, but I'm pretty sure we'll see an Inquisitor.
It could even go like the whole premise of the show could be Vader is hell bent on trying to find Obi-Wan, and so he sends Inquisitors, and it's just 6 hours of Inquisitors dying. Hey, go find them. Okay, you go. But
I do have to say, if there's going to be Inquisitors in this show, I was talking about this with a friend the other day. Do you guys remember in Rebels when the Inquisitors can, how it's their lightsaber spin?
Yeah.
Yes, we have to
helicopter
action.
The helicopter saber.
Oh, we have to see that. Come on, that would be hilarious.
I don't know.
That would be pretty funny.
I really don't. If they decide to, but.
Yeah.
If they do, I think it would hold like the essence of how campy Star Wars can be.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So that'd be really fun to
Yeah.
see.
yeah, Kenobi. Like they try and go, they see him from afar and then just start flight
Yeah.
helicopter over. Oh,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
also
yeah.
like to joke and
Would be iconic.
say that I also like to joke and say that if the show is just a reality parody of reality TV and it's just Obi-Wan arguing with Uncle Owen the whole time,
I love that.
I
I
wouldn't
love that
mind
so
it.
much.
Maybe. Yeah.
Because in some of the comics they like don't get along.
No,
Uncle
they
Mm.
don't.
kind of like, hey, I don't trust slash maybe even not like you. So
Mm.
you
Like,
thanks for the nephew and everything, but
Didn't
you
this
know,
happen in the comics where like Uncle Owen like actually punched Kenobi?
yeah,
I think
I
so,
think
something
so.
like that.
I think you're
He
right.
was like,
because end of Revenge of the Sith, they're like, oh, Kenobi's like, here, have a baby, and they're like, oh wow, thank you, let's look into the
Yeah.
sunset, and everything's happy.
Well,
and
I'm
you
pretty
hope he's
sure.
like, he's a crazy old wizard. It's like, okay, whoa, what
right.
happened there?
I'm
Yeah,
pretty
I
sure.
want to
I'm
know that
pretty sure
banter.
they think
Yeah.
that because hey, Obi-Wan's just kind of like so like your brother-in-law kind of went crazy. Um, so here's his
Actually, that's
child.
true.
A
Yeah,
lot happened in the 3 years that he was gone. The last time you saw him 3 years ago.
yeah.
Um, yeah. Here's his son, by the way. Okay, bye.
That's true. It's a very like intense way to like start off like a friendship. I get
Yeah.
friendship because they correct me if I'm wrong. Obi-Wan and Owen haven't met before he gives him
This would
Luke.
be their first
Correct?
time meeting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So it's what a way to introduce yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, I
Gosh.
trained your stepbrother. He went insane and like ruined the galaxy. Here's your son. Yeah. That's
Um,
what a thing to go off.
what
yeah.
is her
Yeah.
name? Bonnie. What is? How do you pronounce her last name? Does anyone know?
It's completely
I
gone out of
I
my
almost
brain.
said Pisces, but like I was like, let me not do that. Do
But
we
yeah,
know who she's playing?
Aunt Beru?
Mm,
Is she playing Aunt Beru?
maybe.
Yeah,
Because a
yeah.
lot of people were like blonde hair, Satine, and I'm like,
It's
maybe I wouldn't
Maybe.
mind it because flashbacks. It would be great to see Obi-Wan in some Clone Wars armor and
That would be cool. Yeah.
Hayden Christensen, and then have Satine just kind of chilling.
have
But
Satine chilling.
who
Yeah,
knows?
I
I
think that's yeah. Oh, sorry.
no, no, you're good, you're good. Because yeah, the Satine flashbacks, I think in the whole tone of the show, I think is going to be a very deep emotional journey that Obi-Wan's going to go on. I think a
Yeah.
Satine flashback
Mhm.
would actually fit with that really well because maybe he's regretful possibly of not going down that path and not you know not following that love that he had for her. So maybe
Yeah.
he has to like handle that like that regret of that and I think he's sitting there in retrospect. Oh, I should have had
Yeah.
this life with her kind of thing. So yeah, Satine
Not
flashbacks.
only that,
Mm.
not well, I was just gonna say not only that, but like there's also the whole thing of like, are we gonna have to do another 66 flashback in Aftermath depressive episode with another Jedi?
Oh,
Right. Yeah.
absolutely.
Because every time they're like, oh, this is like at the beginning of the Empire or after Revenge of the Sith, I'm always just
Mm.
like, here we go again. I'm ready to
Right.
start all over again.
Relive trauma.
I just know that's what's gonna happen in the Bad Batch. I just know it is.
I
know.
think it's just bound to. It's immediately after Order 66.
There-
They clearly stated
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
The
Yeah.
first episode is just gonna be them training on Coruscant, and then everything goes to crap.
Yeah. They're like, oh, what's going on?
Yeah,
Oh, what is this? And we know we're like, it's Order 66.
Like just
Exactly.
yelling at the TV. It's
Yeah.
oh, yeah,
me
yeah.
and Filoni are
Oh.
gonna have to have a talk because I don't know if I can do this again.
At this point, Filoni just likes this. He's more.
Yeah.
I think Filoni is just like the all-time, big-time masochist. We all think we're masochists. Filoni's the biggest masochist.
He's got it. He's
He
just
swears.
sitting there with his hat going.
Yeah.
Just had to, yeah.
Very Western. Like,
Yeah. Bit of
Well,
straw. Yeah. That's
tumbleweed.
I hate it here.
good. Oh,
Oh,
but just back to the Satine thing. Zach, would you want to see a Satine flashback? What would you think if we were to see it? How do you think it would manifest? How would we see it Come
I
on.
mean, again, if we got a Satine flashback, it is more than likely we could get a Darth Maul flashback. Come on now. But no. No. I think it'd be really great. It would definitely put. I think with the love that arc, that whole story arc they had together in Clone Wars, that is definitely a drive. One of the few drives for Kenobi to move forward as a character. Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing it. It'd be pretty cool. And
Yeah.
if not like a full flashback, then definitely like we'll definitely hear like voices of the past or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I'm also just gonna throw this out there. Tamira Morrison. Did I say his name right? I always feel like I
Yeah.
say his name wrong.
That was right.
He
Yes.
is back in the Star Wars acting business. So I mean, if they
That's
want to
true.
throw Cody in there, they could, and I would not complain.
That's
Yeah,
true.
I would not complain.
I'm just throwing that out in the universe and
Mm.
see if anyone latches onto it.
Be-
Um,
Yeah, because we had that fantastic relationship of Anakin and Rex, obviously,
yeah.
and Cody and Kenobi did have that relationship to an extent. I think it
Mhm.
was just in a different way. I think they're both very upholding of their kind of loyalty to the Republic and the Jedi Order, respectively. And I think that's where they connected. That they were really good, upright people. But I think
Yeah.
Mhm.
that's why Cody didn't struggle when Order 66 happened, because he was just being loyal and he was just being
Yeah.
who he was, kind of thing.
So
So
anyway, I started blasting.
yeah, right. Just I love that meme. This is so good.
I just started blasting.
Um, so if Cody was to be in the show, I don't know how would they meet. Would Cody and Kenobi meet at some point? And like, because Cody's trying to find Kenobi.
Yeah, I'm not sure because his after 66 fate is like kind of blurry because I mean in Legends he like just went to Coruscant and became a guard or something like that, and it just kind of was like okay,
Mm,
cool.
Yeah.
But with everything, not being
mm.
retconned because the EU and Legends weren't never canon. So who knows? Who knows what they might decide to
Mm.
do with him? And even in
Yeah.
the Bad Batch, like if he's probably gonna be in the Bad Batch. Cody's probably gonna be in the Bad Batch
Oh
first.
yeah,
It's
I want that to
possible.
happen.
Yeah.
I can see the Bad Batch being like, here's what happened to all your clone battalions that you loved. Rest in
Yeah,
peace.
yeah. Okay, bye.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And on Bad Batch, let's have a little flick over now to Bad Batch. That fantastically chaotic in a great way
Mhm.
trailer that we
Yeah.
saw. Zach, talk us through the moment that you watched it. Was it like immediately when it dropped, or a couple hours after? When did you get to see the trailer for Bad Batch?
So the very first trailer that they had put out during that whole
Oh
Disney
yeah.
convention
Yep.
with like the new stuff that they were planning and all that stuff. So when I saw that, I was like, I think I actually cried because I was like, oh my
Mm,
gosh.
mm,
And I was like initially when we were first introduced to the Bad Batch in season 7 of Clone Wars, I was not sold at all. I was like,
mm,
okay, like I know like during the Clone Wars, like I wasn't really connected to a lot of the clones until like later on.
mm. Yeah.
So like I was like, okay, so like who are these guys?
Mm,
But then once I saw that, once I first heard, and even when I first heard that they were getting their own show, I was like, oh, okay. But then I saw the trailer and the circumstances that
yeah.
they're going to be in. I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, this is going to be interesting to see clones that are, they don't have they don't have the chip in their head, right? They got it out.
Yeah. I you
Yeah, I
think
think
we
so.
think
Yeah,
yeah. That's
or at least most of them do,
mm,
and they are going to experience like just so many levels of just like different things, and it's going to
mm,
be so hard. I think it's going to be more heart wrenching when they are just as when they're just as confused as we were when we first heard about Order 66.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to be a very beautiful moment. But yeah, no, when I saw the trailer, I was like, oh, this is going to be really freaking good.
absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
And I've been finding that kind of experience was a lot of fans went through that same thing of, as much as their arc and episode arc in Clone Wars season 7 was fantastic, and it was really
Yeah.
badass, and like they were
Mm-hmm.
just annihilating everyone, and it was really
Yeah.
cool. The characters, they were very kind of archetypal. Just you can kind of go, okay, that's the big brawny meathead guy that's gonna punch everything. That's Wrecker,
Yeah.
Crosshairs, quiet one, that's gonna do really sleek stuff. Like you can kind of tell what each character was.
Yeah.
But
They all had their own like thing.
yeah,
Mhm.
and as cool as that was, Star Wars fans, we love depth. We love depth of character, and we love
Yes.
interesting, weird characters. And so I think you're totally right. In everyone's like, oh yeah, Bad Batch show, okay, and then saw the trailer and we're like, oh, hang on, we're gonna get some
Yeah.
depth in this show. Oh,
Yeah.
here we go.
Yeah.
Like I totally relate to that. But Jordan, I know because we're such big Clone Wars nerds. It's just like ridiculous. We're
Yeah.
just such fans for it. It's so good.
You remember I even accidentally called the Bad Batch Clone Wars. I was like, did y'all see the new Clone Wars
Yeah,
trailer?
yeah, and we're like,
Like
what?
just totally just by accident, and I was
Yeah.
like, wait, that's not correct. Let me retract because that is not what this is.
So tell us everything of what you thought of that first trailer too, as well, and the one we got dropped last week. What did you feel? What did you feel when you watched it?
I just felt hyped. I mean,
Mm.
that's as simple as I can put it. Yeah, just hype. Of course, like I said earlier when we were talking about Kenobi, here we go again with 66.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I was just, I was always thinking about what characters are we gonna see, and then of course Rex showed up, and I was like, Rex.
Oh, I could
Um,
not gasp any louder then.
Right.
Like an audible. Oh my
yeah,
god.
and
Oh.
if you notice, his shoulder piece didn't have not a bullet hole because there's no bullets, a blaster hole in it, like it had at the end of season 7. So a lot of people are like,
Ah.
he's wearing Jesse's shoulder piece and he's honoring him. And I was like, I'm gonna go cry in the corner
Wow, that's
now
a
because
deep detail.
I
The
didn't even see
detail that
that.
the fans just pick out the most tiny things,
Jeez.
but
right,
it's like a very Dave Filoni move to like do that kind of detail, because he's
yeah,
like, a group of people will find this.
hasn't
So
been confirmed
Absolutely.
yet, but everyone's like they're pretty sure that's what it is, and it
mm,
makes sense.
yeah, that is
Yeah.
a deep cut. Yeah.
So
But
yeah,
we got some other characters little pop up. So obviously we're gonna get more Fennec Shand. That's exciting.
Yeah.
love
Did you
her.
guys?
That was
Yeah.
a
What
nice
did
little
you?
surprise. I was like, oh, we're gonna get like more of a
Yeah.
storyline with her, you know?
Yeah, and I think she's gonna be a fantastic addition to the show in the sense of she's a bounty hunter, and we always get the Bobas, and then we get the Changeling in prequels, and
Yeah.
the Django.
Yeah,
And we've had bounty hunters, but for some reason, she feels different. Does that make sense? She feels like she's a different kind of character. I feel
Yeah.
like she's gonna have a really interesting arc, and in terms of how she interacts with the Bad Batch. So
Mhm.
she obviously, we've seen that she's going to be in the show. Do you think she's going to be working alongside the Bad Batch or working against them? What do you guys think? How is she going to be in the
Well,
show?
we see that like with most bounty hunters that they could be persuaded with the right price. So it really depends. We'll just have to see. Because even in when we see Fennec in Mandalorian, she's not really loyal to anyone. Um, she's just like, all right, like I'll do. And I guess like the same with Mando as well in the beginning. Like just pay me and I'll do whatever you want. And I'll catch the person for you if you want. So again, like I think Fennec is one of the characters that is just like I want to see, like I want that character to surprise me and just be like,
Mm.
whatever happens,
Just
I'll love
do
it.
your thing. Do your
Yeah.
thing, and it'll be great.
Yeah.
That's so good, so good. What do you think, Jordan? How is Fennec gonna be in the show? What is she gonna do?
I think I don't know. I didn't really think about it, to be honest with you.
Mm, mm,
I could see her helping, the Bad Batch in some way, or
mm,
just completely going against them because she is, as we saw in The Mandalorian, she was some like more or less loyal to Boba Fett, and that could
mm,
have dated back to before he put her back together again. And
Oh,
Boba
okay.
Fett,
Maybe,
for the
maybe.
most part, works for the Empire, as far as we're concerned, because of what we
Yeah.
saw in uh, Empire and Jedi.
Mm,
Mhm.
So she would probably,
absolutely.
I could see where the Empire's like, you need to go take them out. And so
Yeah.
I could see her also trying to take them out.
Yeah. Very interesting.
They
Hey.
could
And
go either
on
way.
that, do you think we could get a possible? How old would Boba be? He would be like late teens.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
But
Do you
just
think we could?
about
Yeah. Could we possibly see a
little
angsty?
family reunion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Little angsty Boba in this show, because that's actually a really good point, Jordan. Because he's working for the Empire in
Yeah.
original trilogy time era, and how did he get there? Like, could we possibly see him already working for the Empire? Maybe he's sent to go find Bad Batch, but maybe he has like a, oh, like, these are my brothers kind of thing. Do you think we
Mhm.
could possibly see Boba in this show? Is that a potential?
Possibly.
Possibly. Yeah.
Possibly.
Because I this semi happened with Rebels. Have you watched all of Rebels, Zach? Are you a Rebels
I
fan?
have. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Mhm.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Could a character like Boba overshadow what we're trying to, the storyline of Bad Batch and what we're trying to,
I am
build in the
not.
show?
I am not too sure
Mm,
because I feel like I mean the surprise was we saw Fennec in the Bad
mm,
Batch, saw an
mm,
animated Fennec,
mm.
but I feel like it would be a little too much to
Yeah,
showcase Boba within the Bad Batch if we already know that Boba is going to have its own show with the Book of Boba Fett.
yeah,
Yeah.
Um,
yeah,
there
absolutely.
could be like a hint or a speculation of like, oh, like it's Boba Fett, but like he's not
Yeah.
really shown. And then
Yeah.
like we cut to the book of Boba Fett where like
Mm.
it same with that show. Like it could be spoken about, but there's
Mm.
nothing really shown.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, just a little name drop. Yeah, yeah, that
Yeah.
definitely could work.
Mm-hmm.
And the other big character reveal we got in the trailer was Saw Gerrera. Yeah,
Oh,
Saw
great
Gerrera.
addition, great addition.
Yeah.
Really
I've
Yeah.
been
goes with the
seeing a
show.
lot of Saw hate on TikTok lately, and I won't stand for it. Not gonna stand for it. Not in this Minecraft server. Not here.
Well,
Not
why are people hating on like the character Saw or just the
yes.
what?
A lot of people
Uh,
just kind of saying that he was too much of an extremist, and I was like, that's the whole freaking point.
Yeah, I was
Uh,
gonna say that's the point.
yeah.
but
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
He's gonna be interesting in the fact that my theory is that he's gonna be a bit of a middle ground for Bad Batch of they're breaking out of their empire ways and they're trying to get out into just the larger galaxy, and they'll run into Saw and be like, hey, like, you're a cool dude, like, what should we do with our lives?
Yeah.
And kind of be in that kind of mentoring. Saw will kind of try and coax them into working for him or something. But yeah, but it is true. Saw's a very intense kind of guy. He just, sometimes I feel like saying, hey, just relax, it's gonna be fine. It's gonna be okay, mate. It's
yeah.
all right. But yeah, I was super surprised. But when I saw it and afterwards, I was like, oh, that kind of makes sense. Like, it's a very tumultuous time that they're going through. But
Mhm.
I think Saw could be a good, like, almost like
Yeah.
a mentor for Bad Batch. What do
Maybe.
you what
His
do you think of Saw's addition, Zach? What do you think of his
I
character?
think it'd be very interesting. I have my thoughts on Saw. I'm trying to remember like the role that he played in Rogue One, but I distinctly remember more his role in Fallen Order, and how he was pretty like headstrong with a lot of things, and then he would just opt out with the mission. And I will say, Jordan, that kind of like messed with me a little bit. I was like, why would you? But why? Like, you know what I
Look,
mean?
Saw is
Um,
angry. Okay, he's allowed to be angry.
everyone's allowed to be angry,
You're
but
right.
but he just dips. He just dips, and I'm
Yeah.
like, um, and I feel like he would do the same with the Bad Batch. He might like say like, okay, do this, bye, that's it.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I don't think I really have like a true opinion about Saw Gerrera.
Mm,
Um,
mm.
so that's my response to that.
Yeah, really good. Really, really good.
And I was
Now,
curious, so I
yes.
looked it up because I was like, is Forrest Whitaker coming back to us?
That would be cool.
Um,
Is he voicing him? Is he voicing Saul?
He voiced him in Fallen Order and some
Yes.
episodes of Rebels,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
Saul's original voice actor is coming back. Andrew,
For Bad Batch.
I think is how you
Okay.
pronounce his last name.
That's very good. That would be awesome to see. Yeah.
Love them both as Saul. Love them both, but
Yeah.
So
Whitaker is my dude.
Mm-hmm.
so good, so good. Well, yeah, fantastic takes on both. Yeah, Obi-Wan cast and Bad Batch. Honestly, my brain was just blown last week with those two massive drops. I'm like
Right.
trying to compute and figure out who the Kenobi cast is going to be in each character, and then so I was like, hey, here's a trailer that looks incredible and amazing. I'm like, hang on, the cast of the trailer. Oh, it was just such a good week last week. What a good time.
It really was. Yeah.
Now, Zach, you are fantastically known all over TikTok for being the CEO of Yelling Kenobi. I was about to say CEO of Hello There, but I guess you're
Hello
both.
there.
Yeah. So
Well, the
accurate.
thing is, when people say hello there with me, I just say Kenobi. That's it.
That's so good. So good. So we want to have a talk to you because you seem like the Maul guy. We want to talk to you about the fantastical dark history of Darth Maul and his character and what he means in the Star Wars universe. And before we jump into big questions about his character, tell us a little bit about how like you first got into Darth Maul, when you first saw him on screen. Why
Yeah.
is he like? I'm assuming he's your favorite character. What made
He
you
is.
connect to him so much?
Well, okay. So I mean, at first when I saw the Phantom Menace, which I'm pretty sure was like the very first Star Wars movie that I saw growing up. I was actually very terrified of him just because he just looked so menacing. Anyways, so
Stop it.
I was very scared by him, but then I would see we all remember the iconic lightsaber duel. I mean, especially when like he presented the double blade, whereas at the time none of us thought that was possible, that like you could have a double bladed lightsaber.
Yeah.
Now we're trying
Which
to
was
fly with lightsabers.
right. Right. And I just loved his style, his aesthetic. And just growing up, like I just always like loved him. And when I found out that like he was coming back into Clone Wars and that we were gonna like have a more in-depth story about him, because I only knew so little about his past in comics, as to how he was raised and how he was built up to be the true Sith, and or the person to restore the Sith, and how he and his whole downfall and everything. It's beautiful. But yeah, no, I just really fell in love with his like rise and downfall and the amount of times that he has experienced that, because I believe it's very human. It's actually very relatable as to how we all try to rise to the top of our own things, and then and then sometimes we end up falling back down again. But and also Maul never gives up. He never gives up. He didn't even give up until like on the last slash onto him from Kenobi. Like he did not give up. So I mean, even though like he is a pretty bad guy, some of his ideologies,
It's a bit questionable at points.
some
Yeah,
like
some.
why'd you kill Satine? Like you get like because
that was rude. That
was very savage. Like, but that's also like the great dynamic of Maul. Is just like he's almost like unpredictable, which makes him all the more so great. But yeah, no, I just love his pain.
I love his pain.
I love his pain, because there are some elements where it's relatable, and you know that's why I love him so much.
Yeah, absolutely.
So when he returned in season 4,
yes,
of the Clone Wars,
yeah,
what, as far as you're concerned, what impact did that have on the Star Wars universe?
man.
A big one.
That is.
Yeah.
Well, I know for me, I was just like, because we only saw like just like a visage of
That's right. It was like
you know,
very alluded to right at the end.
it was very faint. But like with what Mother Talzin said, like, oh, you have a brother and he is alive. You have to find him. And I'm like, who is his brother? Is it Maul? It's Maul. Like, you know.
Yeah.
But then like once we see him, when we first see him, and he's just like this, not what we last saw him, and it's so heartbreaking because it's like, oh my god, like I think it's, oh man, I can't even put it into words, but I think it's so fantastic how all the prep work he has done to like fulfill not even his own dream but his master's dream, like just Sidious, and how it hurts him so much that he had failed, and how much of a failure that he thinks he is due to like what he has been taught since he was a child.
Right.
Like he has never, like you can tell that man has never gotten a hug, not once. He doesn't even know what that is. A hug, what is that?
We should petition that. Someone just give Maul a hug. Maybe
Like,
he wouldn't be so mad.
Like I've actually thought about this. I've had scenarios where I was like, what if I were to actually meet Maul in person and just be like, dude, I'm pretty sure he would kill me right then and there. He's like, what the hell is that? Like, you know. But as far as like to the entire like Star Wars fandom and community, I'm pretty sure we all felt the same excitement because it's like, oh my gosh, like Maul has something to say. We don't know what it is, but he might have something to say. And lo and behold, he had a lot to say. He had a lot to say. He had a lot to say, more than the 7 minutes of screen time he had in the Phantom Menace, which I loved. I loved so much.
So good. And I think you tapped into it a little bit before. I think that's the intrigue of Maul, is that he has these moments of humanity of oh my god, I feel sorry for this character. As the audience, I constantly like empathize with Maul, and god, that's so sad. This is what he's going through. He's just in this trauma. He's just working through it, and then he'll go and like, you know, slaughter like 100 people, and you're like, oh, and you're like, so it's this weird back and forth of being drawn into his character and who he is, going, oh, that's a really sad, empathetic situation. And then like, oh, hang on, no, he's still like Sith trained. Oh, okay.
I mean, especially in season 7, because he's kind of just like, you know what? I'm gonna stop my master's plan right here and now. I'm gonna do it.
Right.
And you know, me personally, I'm like, if y'all would just please listen to this man. Please.
I was like, no, yes. I was like, oh my god, just please, just put aside your ideologies. Just listen. Like, it's crazy, but you gotta do it.
Young don't have to die. Padme doesn't have to die of sadness. You know,
right?
Ahsoka can get her bestie back. Like, we could just listen to the man. Please.
I would say the moment where he wants to die, like he's just like, dude, let me go, let me die, and then he's caught by the troopers. That to me is the equivalent of how people are connected with the clone troopers, and how like sad that is with like how we all got connected with the clone. That was that for me. I was like, oh my god. He was like, you guys don't know what you're doing. We're all going to die. Please stop. And I'm like, no.
And it just, again, that moment, this isn't a kid's show. Oh my wow. That's like, that was such a dark and
it really was pretty dark
moment.
Yes.
And then I was like, hang on, this show's for like 10-year-olds? What? Like, not at all. Oh my goodness. But you're so right in the sense that that was such a pivotal moment when he says that, and it says so much. It wasn't just he was feeling something, or he was just going through something. He could see what was about to unfold to the galaxy, and he's like, nobody understands me.
He knew he knew, and he didn't know at the same time, because like he knew that something big was happening, he just didn't know what. But then as soon as he found out, and he was like, oh, that's really freaking good, but like, this is serious. It's like it's like Woody when he asked Buzz for a hand. He's like, haha, okay, this is serious. Like,
Yeah. Absolutely.
Um,
yeah,
I'm gonna need him to come. First of all, I need Solo 2 to happen, and I'm gonna need him to show up
I
and wreak
know.
havoc with Daenerys. I mean Kira. Um, and
Mm.
someone in the chat said that Kira could give Maul that hug that he's looking for. So
Maybe.
the mother of
That's fair.
dragons hugging a Sith Lord.
Hmm.
I think we need it. I think we need it.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
think
Someone at least has to hug that man. Oh my
Maybe
goodness.
maybe we'll see that moment where like if it's like a hug or a kiss, and then we just hear kazoom, like
Yes.
right through her. That might happen. If we were to get a Solo 2, I'm pretty sure that would happen.
Right.
But yeah, no, because we don't even know what happens. So Maul escapes in season 7, and we don't know what happens from then. We know a little bit in Solo, but then we see him in Malachor, just like now,
Hanging
just like
out.
really freaking crazy.
Yeah.
Mm.
He's
Yeah,
really just
absolutely.
hanging out. He's just like, hey guys,
He's just
what are
chilling.
you doing here? How did you get what are you
Yeah.
doing?
How long did he have to just sit there with the hood on, just waiting? Ezra
Right.
should turn up in a second.
Yeah.
Okay. He's just sitting there
He's
for so long.
well, I'm pretty sure. Well, he's used to it. He was like, I lived on a trash planet with my trauma for like 13 years. Like, what's another
Actually,
like?
it's true. Yeah.
It's like I could wait. I could wait.
10 years or something, 8 years or something. Yeah.
Just about. He was like,
But
ooh, Ezra.
oh, so good. But just going back to the Clone Wars more as well.
Yes.
I could, because Maul, like what you said before, we've only got 7 minutes of him in Phantom Menace, and
Mhm.
we did get a little bit of, a fair amount of him in Rebels, but I loved how much we got of him in Clone Wars, and the
Yes.
whole, I can't remember what season it was, but the whole arc of him building that
Yes.
criminal underworld empire.
Yeah.
That was,
Yes.
there was like one episode where it was just shots of him and Savage Opress. Let's not get into his character. Oh my goodness.
Underrated
Very,
is
very.
what
Like,
Savage Opress is.
Yeah.
but his name isn't. I can't handle his name. Savage Opress.
Savage. When it's
Come on.
clearly you see it, and it's just savage. It's like
Yeah, and you're like, oh.
The savage oppressor.
a savage. Okay, see, I didn't put 2 and 2 together. That's pretty cool. That's pretty lit.
Oppressor.
Savage oppressor. Nice.
But we see them both go around to all these criminal masterminds and just like Maul just does it so easily, and it just isn't like a testament to how smart Maul is. Like
Yeah.
he's just
Maul
like
is
in like a
incredibly
couple of
smart.
sentences, he's like, oh yeah, join me. Like he just totally
Mhm.
like unturns these criminal masterminds and
Mhm.
basically mafias to be and convince them to join him. And
Mhm.
I love that whole arc of him building up Mandalore. And again, it's like he does this,
Yes.
he's like takes over a world just to get to Kenobi, just to
Yes.
get that. It's so good. It's so smart. It's so clever. And as much as I hate that they kill Satine,
I know.
that I'm so mad at Maul, like just perpetually for that fact.
Yeah.
It is so smart. It is.
And
He
it's
wants
so
Oh yeah.
wise.
Kenobi to suffer, and it's so
Mhm.
true. Oh, ooh.
Well, we hear like in like legends that Maul is like described to be like a manging dog, like he's just a dog, and I'm very glad that like we got more of an in-depth character with him, but we
Mm.
see those elements of like he is like a savage, so it's like it's really cool to like see that yes he is like he's an amazing strategist. I don't even know like how like it's great like you said so yourself, like it's crazy how like he came up, he like he got all most of the trauma out of him except for his like love for Kenobi. and was like, all right, I'm gonna take over an entire planet, and then when it's of no use to me, I'm gonna yeet and like just do my own thing, which he literally did in season 7. He was like, all the Mandalorians were like, wait, we need your help. He was like, okay, I'm out of here. He said, die well, Mandalorian. I'm like,
yeah, have a good time, bye.
It's like, all right.
Yeah. And just talking about his whole Mandalore experience and how he just somehow controlled that planet so quickly and easily. Um,
Yeah.
the fantastic scene that we get of Palpatine coming to Mandalore and confronting him. That was, I feel like that scene in that duel. Well, what do you call a duel with it when it's three people? A tr- a,
A
tr- a,
truel. A
a
truel.
truel? A truel.
Yeah,
Okay, let's go with it.
I recently found that out. It's just a truel.
Oh, okay, okay, a
Yeah.
truel with Savage Press, Maul, and Palpatine. That has a lot of weight in it. There's a lot of history going into that fight that I feel like that doesn't get enough talk about or light on.
Absolutely.
What did you guys think of that whole fight scene? Is that in season 5? Can someone
I,
oh end of season 4?
it's in season 5.
Season
Yeah.
5? Yeah.
Yeah, season 5. I would say it was very much. I mean, Savage is like the puppy. He'll just follow along, like what's going on. But the weight, as you said, between Maul and Sidious, is just. It was very much, at least for me, like it felt like Maul was saying, like, I've done all of this for you. Aren't you proud of me? And Sidious is
Yeah.
like, no, like
Yeah.
you're dead to me. Like, and
Yeah.
it's just like, oh, like it's disgusting because it's like, because it debunks everything that Maul has thought he was going to be, you know. And Sidious like closes, he like seals the deal, he closes it. He was like sorry, he's like, yeah, no, like you were going to be the all powerful Sith, but then you failed.
Yeah.
So I moved on, just like how you have to move on. And of course, he never does. He just like internalizes it and then just blames Kenobi for everything.
Right.
But it was very much that dynamic of like, I did all this for you. Aren't you proud of me? And just being shut down for it. There is no mercy. Oh, that was a real kicker where he was like, he's like, this is what I taught you, and you should know this.
Yeah.
Stay down.
It's and again that moment of when he realizes, and I think that like what we were just saying, the build up of he just took over Mandalore like easy. He's like underworld to like join him. He's just like killing people left, right, and center. He's just owning life, and you're like, wow, he's just super badass, just killing just life. And then the second he feels Palpatine's presence, that it's like, and how do we get this much emotion from animation? I don't know. But
I don't know.
It's all senses Palpatine. He's just
Baloney magic.
You can feel it. You can feel his
he's
confidence,
like,
and he just drops. And he goes, he's here.
He like
oh my
shrinks.
God.
Yeah.
And that's
it's kind of like
moment.
Yeah, it's kind of like oh gosh, what's his name? Steppenwolf with Darkseid.
Yeah.
He's like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Very much that.
Freak out.
Yeah. And this is a very small detail, but I don't know if you guys remember this, but in season 7, when we first have the interaction between Maul and Ahsoka, but that little, he has like a little shudder in his voice when he says Darth Sidious. It's like a close up on him, and he says Darth Sidious. It's like he's even scared now, like even after like, it's so good. It's so good as to how like even he has fear, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, we have to talk about that season 7 amazing scene with duel with Ahsoka.
Yeah.
And just even the dialogue just before that, I think that's my like all-time favorite dialogue of Star Wars, of just their and because I'm a super big Ahsoka fan, massive Ahsoka fan, but I really love Maul as well. So the dynamic of those two, they're so different, but they somehow work together.
Yeah.
And even I was like, I could see them working together. I know people were like, no, like don't put them together, but
I wanted them to work together so bad.
I was in that boat of I want them to.
And she was so close. But no.
She was like
this
a
close.
sentence away.
You just want to back up, Anakin.
What do you want with Anakin?
Your visions are flawed.
Yeah.
They might be flawed, but I might be right.
Hang on. Yeah. Oh, it's if Ahsoka and Maul did team up and they became this duo, even if it was for the time of Order 66.
Mm-hmm.
If we could rewrite what happened in Order 66, how do you think that would have played out? Them going, Ahsoka being like, okay, I'll join you. Let's try and defeat this dark power. What would
Damn,
happen?
I don't know.
Well,
I
first of
don't know.
all, Bo-Katan would be really confused.
Yeah.
She would be so confused.
Like,
Like, wait,
hang on.
I
hang
brought
on.
you here to kill him, and
What?
now
We were
y'all
just
are.
trying
I'm
to-
confused.
What?
Like,
Yeah.
did I hit my head on another Mandalorian? Like, I'm confused right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, no, I can't. I don't even know. This is where it like gets me all the more anxious, because it's like you just don't know.
Mhm.
Mm.
I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure like Maul would like he does, like he uses people to get his way, and then he'll just dispose them. That's what most Sith do. So either way, I think he would have they would have teamed up, and Maul would have found a way to just be like, all right, I'm gonna try to kill you.
Yeah.
But yeah, like thinking in a different way. My whole thing is just that what it really comes down to, I just think then the prophecy is never fulfilled, and then that becomes like a whole other thing. It's like, okay, so who is really the chosen one if it's not any Skywalker? You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. It makes it definitely more of an open question for
Mhm.
that discussion. Yeah. Oh, that it- that jewel though that they have is fantastic, and one of my
It's so
favorite
beautiful.
things in like pieces of Star Wars information is that they use motion capture of Ray Park
Yeah.
doing that. You can feel it. You can feel it
I
so
was
much.
so happy
Mm.
because as an actor, you want to keep working, so like I was just so happy for Ray Park to just even be a part of Star Wars, again, so it was very beautiful. Like I think I got a little teary-eyed just seeing him work and do his thing.
Yeah.
Mm.
It's really fantastic.
Yeah, it's that throne scene is really up there for me for favorite Star Wars duels. I have to say it's
I will
so beautiful, so poetic.
I will forever sit like Maul on a chair, just with my foot,
Oh,
my foot
yeah,
up,
that-
and just chilling,
yeah.
like, what's up?
Like, you
So
just
good.
started a civil war. What are you doing? Sit up. Sit up, right?
I'm chilling.
And-
I'm Jay chilling.
So good. And further on, the moment that he's captured and he's on the cruiser with Ahsoka and he's in the I
Yeah.
love that I don't know the correct term for it, but
The
like
Mandalorian chamber.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, love that. That is so
The
love
Jedi
that kind of
jail.
detail. Yeah,
The Jedi jail.
love that. And him and Ahsoka have this fantastic kind of it's almost a very symbiotic experience of
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
going through the same kind of thoughts of they can feel what's about to happen, but they don't know what it is. I think Maul's a bit more in tune with it than Ahsoka. Ahsoka's just kind of in denial. But I love
Right.
that they kind of worked together, but kind of completely didn't. Like the whole, she breaks him out because she wanted a distraction or
Mhm.
something for the clones to focus on, and he's like
Right.
a sword, and she's like no, like that. It's just like they're working together, but totally not at the same time.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
love that whole sequence. What do you guys think of that whole him of them working together but not? Do you think that they should have tried to break out together of the cruiser, like right in Order 66?
Well, if
I-
they did, he certainly won.
So good, so good. And what
Yeah.
do you think, Zach?
For me, I mean, it was definitely like a survival tactic, like anything to get out of this whole mess, because like I mean everyone is just confused. But they use their skills in order to get out. And it's funny because Ahsoka really tried it. I think she tried to like turn the tables a little bit, where like how Darth Maul would like use someone and just like dispose of them. I think Ahsoka was trying to do that. She was like, okay, I'm gonna use you, but then if you try to escape, and I know you will, I will catch you. Of course she doesn't, but like she tries it. So that's like also another dynamic of like, oh gosh, like she is just breaking all the rules of the Jedi Order. But again, she renounced it when she was like not when she was deemed untrustworthy.
Mm.
Yeah.
I don't even know if that's a word. But basically just like,
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think it is. Yeah.
it is it? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So, it was interesting to kind of see how her brain worked,
Yeah.
as far as like trying to survive.
Yeah. And yeah, you make a good point there of it's almost like she's almost subconsciously learnt things of how Maul did things.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're kind of going through that same experience of they're turning on their own orders, really, in their
Yeah.
own ways and for their own reasons, but they're both
Mhm.
seeing the order that they're in and going, this is not
Yeah.
how it should be, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Like we see an escalation of just like, okay, like Maul is starting to become a little right, and I'm kind of scared.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Now we do get a good little taster, and I feel like Maul is in a totally different light in Rebels, and I love
Yeah.
that he was in Rebels. I loved what he
Yeah.
did and how he was presented. How do we think that? It's big spoiler alert, because I know people are only just getting on the Rebels wagon now. They're a little
Yeah.
bit late, so
Mhm.
there is going to be some spoilers, but we'll talk about it
Spoilers.
because I mean the show ended like 4 years ago or something. So
About
yeah,
4 years
2017.
ago.
Yeah.
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 Maul's journey in Malachor, with Ezra, what he was trying to achieve.
Mhm.
Do you think, and ultimately his end? Do you think that was the ending we would have hoped and wanted for Maul, or to hope to see?
I get in that discussion a lot, where it's like, oh gosh, like should the fight been longer, or was it just right? I can see both sides where it's like it was just right, or like it could have been a little longer. On the side of like it was just right, like it's like quick and fast, like most duels. I also think like we are very used to like seeing like very elongated duels. But the dynamic between Kenobi and Maul, it's just I think it was very much like we know these two characters, and they know each other. They know each other very well. So you can say that Maul on his side, he's just tired. And I feel like you can see that. He still has that rage, which is so crazy. That he just like has all that like that. I mean, honestly, like for the human heart, that can't be good. That's a lot of stress. But
Yeah.
like with Kenobi, he has always been on. Even after like hiding, and like he's always been on because he has something to protect, or someone.
Yeah.
And whereas like with Maul, we know that like he will always have that hate and drive for Kenobi. So it's like I would rather it just be like short and sweet. But also like that scene entirely, there was so much in between, so much to think about. And there's a bunch of YouTube videos of how like Sam Witwer described that whole fight. And it's good. I liked it. This is one thing that I brought up in a previous podcast that I did, talking about Maul. How as soon as you see, so you get that close shot of Maul when he has that realization that, oh my gosh, like I'm dead, like it's done. You see like he breathes, like he truly takes a deep breath. And I saw it as like, oh my gosh, like I think like he's fulfilled his destiny. He's fought. All he did was fight, and he was trying to get to one point, but then he just came to a realization. It's like, okay, that's it. Like there's nothing more that I can do at this point. So let me breathe and kind of die in peace. But still be like, I'm still bad. Like it's very beautiful. I would definitely stay on the side of like, the fight was great as it was. It definitely it derives from how a lot of samurai movies are, where it's just like, cut and dry, that's it, you're dead. So it's really good to see that. And also and also like a beautiful nod a beautiful nod to like samurai films and just like that whole culture, which goes back to how George Lucas wanted the fighting style to be, like very much derived from like samurai sword work.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, yeah, I'm in that camp too. I think it had to be short, so it was more symbolic than, oh, that was an awesome duel. That was like you didn't want it to be a grandiose, so like 5-minute fight, because I think it would have lost a little bit of that essence that we got. And like what you're saying with the breath right
Mhm.
at the end, it
Yeah.
sounds weird, but it's almost like I felt Maul become human, not in the sense of like his physicality, but
No,
the
no.
emotion. His
Yes.
ego left in that breath.
Mm-hmm.
I felt,
Yes.
and I think a lot of his anger and hate and power and greed all comes from his ego,
Mm-hmm.
and constantly trying to chase to feed his ego. And I feel like in that moment he let go of that,
Yeah.
and just became who he was,
Mm-hmm.
in the most stripped back form possible. And
Yes.
I totally know the moment you're talking about where he has that breath, and it's just so quiet. And
Yeah.
I saw a photo the other day of uh, like the mirroring of how Obi-Wan held Qui-Gon, and when he
Yes.
was killed, and then how Obi-Wan held Satine when she,
Yeah.
funny, Maul killed her. And then how he holds Maul.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah.
just so beautiful. And
Yeah.
Maul goes through all this turmoil of how Kenobi ruined his life, and Maul's years and years and years just looking after revenge.
Mm-hmm.
Kenobi's got that same. He killed his master. He killed his like love of his life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Kenobi must have all this rage, but I think it just manifests in a different way, or not rage, but anger and hurt. But
Mm-hmm.
but he can still have this moment with Maul, and it's just so fascinating.
Yeah.
They both have massive histories, and for Obi-Wan to just hold Maul, and Maul doesn't struggle. He just, I mean, well, he's
No.
about to die. He's in pain.
Yeah, yeah. Like
But
like an entire lightsaber just went like halfway through his body. So it's like
yeah. He's not going to move too much, but
no,
but
no.
but he's totally in there in that moment with Obi-Wan, and you're like, how do you have this indescribable history with each other of
Yeah.
hate, but you can still have such a beautiful moment with these two
Yeah.
characters.
Yeah.
It's so powerful. Yeah, so I'm definitely in that camp of, I think it was a perfectly short fight.
They definitely had that moment where it's like it's just time to let it go. Just
Yeah.
let go.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Because like you said, like even Obi-Wan had that hate and rage. Of course, he channeled it in a different way. But he still had that. But it was definitely like an internal mutual agreement, being like, all right, we had a good run. Now it's just time to
Yeah.
stop.
Yeah.
So
Jordan, what did you feel? What do you think about that scene?
I felt it was. I mean, it was perfect. That's all I can
Perfect.
say.
Yeah.
I mean, I was thrown off by how short the duel was, of course, but I was like, okay. I mean, that was fine. The show's not really about them two having this epic duel, and so I didn't want it to take away from what Ezra had going on and Kanan and all of them, and
It's
it
true.
didn't. So I thought it was great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Um.
And
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
you're good. You're good. So going on, talking about Kenobi's and Maul's relationship, what do you think that did for the Star Wars world? We have fantastic filial relationships of Darth Vader and Luke, and then we have Leia and Ben. We have all these family connections, and then we've got the Anakin and Ahsoka's, those kind of connections. But the Maul and Kenobi connection, it's that like what we're just talking about. They're complete enemies, and they just have it out for each other. Of course, Obi-Wan in a more subtle way, but what do you think that shows us and brought to the Star Wars galaxy and universe, and in our worlds as well? What did that teach us? If we could draw something from their relationship.
Have to think about this one. That's a really good question.
Yeah.
Because
Better than
I mean,
boyfriend.
like what we were mentioning before when we were talking about Bad Batch and things like that, is that that's the beauty of Star Wars, of the depth of characters we get, and not only the depth of character that we can learn from an individual, but we can actually learn from the relationships they have with one another. And it's a relationship that Kenobi and Maul have. It's because, like we were just saying, it's so back and forth, and yeah, it's
So going back to ego,
mm,
and how like you can have so much pride and talk a bunch of smack toward to other people about this other person, but at the end of the day, you're still hurting. So you have eventually you're gonna realize that you have no other choice but to just let it go. And I think that is something that we learn from the relationship between Obi-Wan and Maul, is that, like, at the end of the day, like don't you ever have those moments where it's like, you get into a fight or an argument with someone and then you just think like, we could have avoided that.
Yeah.
you know
yeah. What is this
it's
for, kind of thing.
like what are we doing? Like, I want to like wake up the next day like happy. I don't want to wake up. I don't want to like take all the negative stuff that was from yesterday and drag it into the next day. I want to move on.
And part of me feels like that's, other than the obvious reason of Obi-Wan has to go save Sidious so he can be there for episode 6, Order 66.
Right.
I also feel like he wanted to just let it go. And that's why he was like, I don't want it to go to Mandalore and relive my secret wife being murdered and all this other stuff. I don't want to do it. I want to move on. And if me sending someone else to go fight, if she really wants to, then that's just what's going to have to happen so I can move on. And Maul should take a page out of my book, because why are you trying to start a civil war just to get me to come to a planet?
Right.
That's so true.
Yeah.
Like, I'm flattered, but no, thank you.
It's a beautiful chaos. It is a truly beautiful chaos
Yeah.
that they have.
Yeah.
So good. Well, I think that it is just
I
the
have
beauty
2
of Star
follow-up
Wars.
questions.
Yeah.
The first one, I was reading the chat earlier, and somebody said the hallway scene in season 7, or the mallway scene.
The Maulway scene.
Hallway.
The Maulway scene.
Who
I
said
think they
that?
said
Who
it was
said
better.
That was brilliant. Oh.
They said it was better than the Vader scene in Rogue One, or they said it the other way around. I was trying to find it, but I can't find it.
Well,
What are your thoughts?
being that like it's canon, and I'm gonna stick to my guns with this. Maul did it first. Maul did the hallway scene first, and I will stand by it. I mean, it's the writing's on the wall, baby. Like, it's there. So I would say, yeah, I would say Maul had like the best hallway scene as far as just like mauling like these clone troopers.
Literally.
Did it without a lightsaber. I mean, come
Without
on.
a lightsaber. That's, oh my god, yes. Oh,
jeez.
That just shows like how powerful this dude is.
I mean,
And
honestly, yeah. I mean, for me, it's like hallway scenes are all great. The Luke scene in The Mandalorian, Vader scene in Rogue One, and that one, they're all great. Just give me a hallway scene, and it'll be my favorite.
Just give me a hallway scene.
Content ever.
Even Bo-Katan had a hallway scene in The Mandalorian.
Yeah, that was badass.
Yep.
I love that.
That was really great. I was like, oh damn, I want to be a Mandalorian now. I want to do a hallway scene.
Too?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that was so cool.
I'm filming a hallway scene. I don't care.
Amazing.
Right.
I love that phrase though. A Maulway scene.
Maulway scene.
It's so true. It's so true. He owned it. And what was the second question, Jordan? You had a second one for us.
Yes.
My second question is to Zach.
Oh no.
Can you do the thing? Do you want to do the thing?
Actually,
I can do the thing. I'll do the thing. It's
I must warn everyone in the chat, you might want to turn your volume down just a little bit.
Just a little bit. And also,
I'm reaching down here to do the same thing.
So ready.
Right.
Really loud.
So please bear with me. It has been a minute since, I don't even remember the last time I screamed Kenobi.
Do we need to give you a warm up or something, or?
I might have to do a warm up. But see, my warm up is actually doing the monologue into screaming Kenobi.
Yeah. Yes.
Hey, if you're ready for that, we're not opposed to monologues. I would love
I'll
that.
do it. I'll do it. It's fun. We're here for a
Here we
good
go.
time.
Star Wars
Yes.
culture exclusive. Here we go.
And I'm so upset because usually I have like my microphone set up, but you guys could hear me pretty fine, right?
Yeah. It's
Okay.
good. It's good.
Yeah, for sure.
This is one of the techniques I do. Lost. I am lost. And yet I can feel his presence. So close, so close. I can see him in my mind's eye. Kenobi. Kenobi! There we go.
Yes.
Holy crap.
Yay.
Oh my god.
Ooh, it's been a minute. Did that sound okay? Is everyone all right?
That was good. I think you like blew the decibels of the sound. It was like that
Yeah.
just proves how good it was.
I got my lightsaber here too. It's like,
I am mind blown. Even just your Maul tone is so
Yeah.
on point.
thank you,
Wow.
thank you.
So do tell us, how long have you practiced that for? Like, how many times did you have to go over that to get the right tone and intonation?
So thank God for Disney Plus, because I would just go to every Maul episode. This is what I did. I would watch every episode with Maul, and I would just try to hear every single tone and the way that he says words with his lines. Like I even did that in my TikToks in the very beginning, where I was like, because I wanted to incorporate more of my acting skills with the stuff I love.
Yeah.
So I did Maul's voiceover stuff. So like every few times, like I would do like a monologue, or like I think I know almost every monologue Maul has said in the Clone Wars at least, and Rebels. But yeah, no, I never thought I would get really recognized for that. Especially since like, you hear me and like I just don't sound like Maul at all. But then like when I get into it.
Yeah, that's what shocked me most, and it was on. You were on
Thank
just
you.
point with the tone, and just even like the pitch of it was just like that was Maul's pitch. It wasn't like you were in a different area, like you were on.
I am lost.
Actually, I want to hear it at that pitch.
And yet I feel his presence. So close. So close.
That's more like if Anakin was Darth Maul.
Right.
Anakin was Darth Maul.
Oh my
If
gosh.
Jake Lloyd
imagine.
did Ray Park's or Sam.
Right. Oh my
Line.
gosh.
So
Oh my
good.
gosh.
So good.
Thank you.
But yeah, that was fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. That was
I-
beautiful.
It's really fun. I appreciate it. I thank you guys for having me do that. It truly has been a minute, so I'll probably feel this first thing in the morning.
Oh, too good. Well, that pretty much wraps it up for this episode of Star Wars
Amazing.
Culture. Thank you so much for joining us, Zach, and having this
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Obi-Wan cast and Bad Batch like discussion, deep dive, little chat
Part
about that
two.
and debrief. Part 2,
Definitely.
yes. And your fantastic love for Maul really shows in how you speak about him and what we talked and discussed. And yeah, just thank you so much for your insight into his character. And he truly is a fascinating person, Maul, and you have a fantastic insight into that. And if people want to check out your social media, your TikToks, which are just so wholesome and so good, I really recommend it. I did a big binge of all your TikToks. Super impressed. So if people want to head over there, where can they find you? Give yourself.
Yeah, sure. So on TikTok, you could just find me at Zach Bravo, ZACH. Bravo, like Johnny Bravo, one word. But if you guys want to follow me on Instagram, it's at _, Zach Bravo. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, so good. And so yeah, once again, thank you so much. Thank you so much for your insight into the fantastic world of Maul. And if you're still watching us here, be sure to hit that subscribe button on YouTube and hit that notification bell if you're watching us on the YouTube, and follow Culture Slate on all your favorite social medias, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. That's the main four. Yeah, got them.
Believe so, yes.
Be sure to follow Culture Slate on all those platforms. We will be back next Thursday, 15th, on the Thursday, if you're in Australia. That's at 9 a.m. And when is it for Americans, Jordan? You know this one.
It is on the Wednesday, the 14th at 4 p.m. PST and 7 p.m. EST for Americans. And I hope y'all are ready because we gotta talk. We're Star Wars fans. We gotta talk.
Next,
It's gonna be
next
a
week,
long,
we
good
have a talk.
conversation.
That's all we should say.
We usually
We
don't
have a
get
talk to have.
to the next week, but
Big
we already
talk.
know what we're talking about next week, and I'm very excited because y'all need to hear what we have to say.
Oh, yeah.
Buckle
Buckle up. Put on the seatbelt. It's going to be a
Yes.
wild show.
And
This
I
is
will
where the fun
also remind
begins.
you all.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. This is also another reminder to go to our Patreon for all of that great exclusive content. You can see behind the scenes photos from working on the show, a full look at our pilot episode, which is only on our
Re-
Patreon, and you can't find it anywhere else. And also some fantastic bloopers from the show.
Oh, we
You
have
can
some
check
bloopers.
all that out on
Ooh, we have bloopers.
patreon.com/culture slate. Yes.
So
That is
exciting.
it for us this week. We will see you soon, and may the force be with you
Always.
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 Sometimes.